Today's ceremony will celebrate the transition of leadership here at the nation's premier military education and leader development institution, from Major General Frederick M. Padilla, 15th President of the National Defense University, to Vice Admiral Frederick J. Roegge. For our military guests, today's ceremony is an uncovered indoor ceremony. Therefore, no salutes will be required. The Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Joseph F. Dunford, Jr., will be the presiding official. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our distinguished guests, NDU senior leaders, staff, faculty, and students of the National Defense University and the broader military education enterprise, and most importantly, the friends, family, and colleagues of Major General Padilla and Vice Admiral Roegge, who are here today to witness this important event. General Padilla and Admiral Roegge made donations to support the Wounded Warrior Project in lieu of flowers for this ceremony. As we all get settled, I invite your attention to this short video which highlights the unique strategic value of the National Defense University.
How does a nation prepare to meet new challenges and threats in an uncertain world? By developing national security leaders who think strategically, who understand and can employ all the elements of national power, who can create strategic solutions, and who can build coalitions while integrating the diverse cultures of our interagency and international partners. In short, we prepare for tomorrow's challenges by investing in the development of our national security leaders today. Tucked away in Southwest Washington, D.C., is a hidden gem of national security. The National Defense University is the military academy that provides a hedge against uncertainty by developing leaders prepared to handle the nation's most difficult national security challenges in an ever more dynamic and complex environment. General Colin Powell, who served as Secretary of State and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was a member of NDU's first graduating class in 1976. In reflecting on his time here, he said this:
"It was so essential to my future to get everything I could here, because when I learned about politics, public relations, international relations, the contributions that other services make to what the Army might be doing and how we help them, it made me ready for whatever might come along in my career."
Students come from around the world to study at NDU. Why? From the student's perspective, there is no better place on earth to become a senior strategic leader, to acquire the knowledge, critical thinking skills, academic background, and experience the rich diversity of perspectives that are essential to national security leaders. And there is another important quality to the NDU experience. It's less visible, but no less important. In describing it, General Powell said,
"The greatest contribution, perhaps, besides what I learned as a student, was the experience I had with my fellow classmates. Most of us recently back from Vietnam or somewhere else. And we got the learning, but we did more than just get the learning. We learned from each other. We learned the importance of the contributions that each of us make from our different services. We became a team. We became a real group of fellows who would be with each other for many years to come. And it turned out that that challenge came to us in the form of Desert Storm. And if you were to go down the list of my colleagues from that War College class in 1976, you would find that so many of us came together to fight Desert Storm. We were all lieutenant colonels together. We know each other. We know each other intimately. And this brotherhood that existed among us has continued in the 40 years since.
The strategic leadership team that made Desert Storm a success was born at NDU. And NDU continues to serve as the proving ground for the nation's defense. Since 9/11, NDU has created an international network of more than 8,500 security professionals from more than 75 nations. These individuals together form a global network of security practitioners who share a common experience, speak a common professional language, and are ready to work together on the thorniest strategic challenges. Today, NDU's mission is to develop joint warfighters and other national security leaders through rigorous academics, research, and engagement to serve the common defense. As the chairman's university, the path we follow is set by his vision that NDU creates strategic advantage by developing joint warfighters and other national security leaders and forging relationships through whole of nations and whole of government education programs, research, and engagement. NDU delivers rigorous education and professional development through seminar discussions enriched by deep individual study, experiential learning, and candid engagement with senior leaders and scholars from across the U.S. and the international security enterprise. There is no better place to teach, train, and test our most senior leaders. And why is that? Because NDU provides unique value that comes from the combination of location, focus, and a diverse body of faculty and students who bring the widest range of professional experience and perspectives into every seminar. NDU's location in the nation's capital enables the meaningful engagement with colleagues and leaders from all of the military services, interagency and international partners, Congress, the Supreme Court, and the White House. An NDU education is also uniquely valuable because of our holistic approach to strategic security challenges. We help students develop the ability to create whole-of-government and whole-of-nation strategies to address the most difficult security challenges. Unlike typical civilian universities, students in NDU's master's programs average 43 years of age and bring 20 years of experience from a wide range of U.S. and international military services and government agencies. This adds a richness of perspectives that is unmatched and uniquely valuable in preparing leaders able to leverage all elements of national power in joint and combined operations. NDU is an internationally recognized graduate-level university with colleges and research centers that each provide a unique national security focus. We deliver education and professional development on the main campus at Fort McNair in Washington, D.C., on the Joint Forces Staff College campus in Norfolk, Virginia, programs at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and at multiple combatant commands around the world. Today's NDU creates strategic advantage by developing joint warfighters and other national security leaders and forging relationships through whole of nations and whole of government education programs, research, and engagement. In short, NDU is the premier institution for developing and networking the next generation of strategic leaders for the United States and our partners.
Lieutenant General Dunford would like to defer honors to Major General Padilla. Advance the colors.
Colors forward, march! Colors, halt! Colors, freeze and on!
Retire the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Kenneth Williams will now offer the invocation.
One of the elements that makes the United States and all of our coalition partners strong is diversity. And so today, as I lead us in prayer, I invite you, whatever your tradition, to join with me according to your tradition in prayer. So let us pray. Gracious and merciful God, you are the ruler and commander of air, land, and sea. And using the words of the warrior statesman David of Bethlehem, I say, you train our hands for war and prepare us for battle. And you teach us to secure peace and safety for all of our populations, so that we may thrive and enjoy your grace and mercy. I thank you today for Major General Padilla and his compelling vision and uniting spirit in teaching and training national security leaders to go forth and secure the peace. I also thank you today for Vice Admiral Roegge and the unique skills and abilities that you have afforded him throughout the years, preparing him for this very unique assignment, continuing to build on the foundation that has been laid. May this ceremony, the words that are spoken and the memories recalled, serve to remind us of the legacy of public service, of working for the common good, of securing trust and faith in our established leaders and institutions. God bless this ceremony and all the participants. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce General Joseph F. Dunford, Jr., the 19th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly to the National Defense University team. Thanks for being here as we mark the transition of authority from Major General Fred Padilla to Vice Admiral Fritz Roegge. You know, this ceremony, for those of us in uniform, know that we do these kind of ceremonies to mark continuity more than change, and that's really what I like to refer to these events as is marks of continuity. You know, tomorrow morning, just like this morning, the men and women of National Defense University are going to wake up. They're going to have confidence in their leadership, and they're going to have commitment to growing the warfighters and the senior strategic thinkers that we have tomorrow. There's a couple of folks, many folks out here by definition are important, and I know that that both General Padilla and Admiral Roegge will mention those. I do want to thank the Vice CNO and Mrs. Moran for being here. Good to have you. And I have to mention at least my J7, who has so much to do with our professional military education, Admiral Scott, for being here. Kevin, thanks. Thanks not for being here. This is where you would be, but thanks for all you do in your leadership and making sure our professional military education is on track. You know, today, in addition to just marking the continuity between Major General Padilla and Admiral Roegge, is also a great opportunity to reflect and take stock of this organization's accomplishments. And I'd like to begin by just taking a few minutes to talk about the men and women of NDU. It's often said that today's strategic environment is more complex and volatile than any time since World War II. I've been in my job 2 years, and I'm not going to push back on that statement. I will accept that. And navigating today's environment while preparing for an uncertain tomorrow is going to require strategic leaders that are not only technical experts, but individuals who can think broadly, critically, and creatively. And that's what NDU is all about, serving as a catalyst for strategic thought and developing strategic leaders. I've said many times over the past 2 years that the center of gravity here at the university is the real source of strength, if you will, is the faculty and staff that we're fortunate enough to have. And so to the faculty and staff here that gather here today, let me just tell you, what you do every day is really what gives us a true competitive advantage. You develop thoughtful leaders who can build coalitions and solve complex problems. Your research questions the status quo, and it delivers solutions to our nation's most pressing challenges. Your passion inspires excellence. And aside from this afternoon's ceremony, today is really a typical day at NDU. Civilian and military faculty are educating nearly 1,000 students from 72 different countries in courses ranging from advanced strategic theory to the fundamentals of a healthy economic industrial base. Mentors at Capstone are shaping the next generation of senior leaders. At Joint Forces Staff College, instructors are preparing leaders from across the Joint Force to operate in a joint, combined, and interagency environment. Experts at the Center for Complex Operations are developing innovative ways to counter illicit networks. Researchers at the Center for Technology and National Security Policy are developing new ways to leverage prototyping and experimentation. And fellows from across NDU are leading dialogue on everything from nuclear nonproliferation to stabilizing Iraq in the aftermath of ISIS. The depth and breadth of activity across all 5 colleges, 7 centers, and 3 regional centers is truly extraordinary. So this morning, to the men and women of NDU, to the faculty and staff, I just want you to know that your contributions are both recognized and appreciated. And if I haven't expressed my appreciation sufficiently over the past 2 years, I can assure you it's more a reflection of my poor time management than it is an indication of your performance. And for those that are here from the faculty and staff, I just ask you to please stand up. There are 2 other groups that I'd just like to take a moment to recognize, and that's the National Defense University Foundation and the Board of Visitors. And my only message to both of those groups are, 1, thank you for your generosity and the time that you spend with the university. And number 2, we really do listen to the recommendations that you make, and you really have made us better, even when it's hard to listen. Even when the recommendations you make are difficult to implement, I want you to know you have made a difference, and I hope you recognize that. And I'd ask you to please stand up as well, and please be recognized, because I do want to say thank you. You know, for the last 3 years, the performance of NDU has reflected the visionary leadership of Major General Fred Padilla. And his service here at NDU is a significant milestone in a career that has lasted more than 35 years. And I've been fortunate enough to know Fred back from our company grade days in the 6th Marines back in the mid-1980s, to having an opportunity, a front row seat to watch him in Operation Iraqi Freedom 1. And I've had the privilege here over the past 2 years to watch him again from the front row as he's led here at the National Defense University. And I think those of you who are here would agree that he's a man of tremendous character, a positive, persuasive leader who epitomizes the term warrior scholar. And over the last few years, he's leveraged a lifetime of study and operational experience to make a lasting contribution here at NDU. He arrived at a time of leadership turbulence, and he provided a steady hand. He served as an example of servant leadership to the faculty, to the staff, and to the students. He implemented substantial curriculum changes, and he helped navigate a particularly challenging fiscal environment. And through his moral courage and persistence, he ensured that when we placed a proper priority on education, when we were first to make difficult decisions. And, you know, I'll just as an aside, just tell you, particularly for the faculty and staff, as you know, we have spent the last few years looking across the Department of Defense to make cuts in headquarters. And somehow along the way, we started to equate professional military education in the National Defense University with headquarters, read overhead. And 2 or 3 times along the way here the last couple of years, Major General Padilla has brought to my attention some of the cuts and the impact that they would have on our ability to deliver which at the end of the day is what we do, deliver world-class education. So he's come to me, and I said, okay, Fred, I got it. I'll provide some guidance. And about every 3 or 4 months, General Padilla at a capstone class or some other event when I was over here would put me in a headlock and say, hey, you told me you were going to take care of this, and you haven't done that yet. And I said, okay, well, I'm not sure who works for who here, but I got it. I'll go back and figure this out. And I'm proud to tell you today. That that's all behind us. And it's all behind us, and I can assure you that if I am reconfirmed, and we'll find that out sometime here in the near future, but we'll continue to prioritize education where it belongs, at the top. And when you're at a period of fiscal challenges, the one place that you don't want to cut, the one place you actually want to double down on is professional military education, and we're going to do that. You know, the other thing that Fred understands is what we describe as the center of gravity for the U.S. military. And we say that our source of strength, I talked about the source of strength at NDU being the faculty and staff, but the source of strength for the U.S. military is really the network of allies and partners that we have built up since World War II. And over the past couple of years, Fred has placed proper emphasis on reaching out to more than 100 countries, some countries who have never before had a relationship with National Defense University, to make sure that we develop relationships today that will lead us well into the future in maintaining positive relationships and growing that network of allies and partners we have. And I think that many are here today that represent that. I can see many uniforms from our allies and partners out here, and I know there's an ambassador or two that have taken the time to join us as well. And again, I think that reflects the priority that General Padilla has put on allies and partners. But you know, you can't talk to Fred for more than 5 minutes without him sharing that he wouldn't be the leader that he is without incredible support at home, and that most especially comes from another friend of mine, his wife Cindy. And Cindy, we happen to know from personal experience, watching you from the Camp Pendleton days. You've been there through the moves, and you've been there through the separation, and you've been a great supporter of countless military families, and I want to thank you for your contribution as well. And I want to thank you and Ellen sitting next to you for sharing Fred with us. And although most of the children aren't here, Amy is here, a student who's just tearing it up down there at Quantico High. I happen to know from personal experience representing the family, and we're thankful to you, Amy, and to the other 5 Padilla children for sharing your dad with us. And I'm happy to note today, without any specifics, that Major General Fred Padilla is going to be with us for some years to come in positions of increased responsibility, and I couldn't be happier about that. But Fred, before you move on to the next objective, I hope that you and Cindy will just take a moment to catch your breath and reflect, and to know that you've earned the admiration, the appreciation, and the affection of everyone that you have served with, and that includes the Dunfords. Ladies and gentlemen, when it came time to select Fred's replacement, it was a very short conversation and a very easy pick. Given the complexity of the strategic environment, the accelerating pace of change I mentioned a minute ago, and the demands that are going to be placed on our future leaders, we knew that NDU was going to require a special leader. And clearly we have that kind of leader in Vice Admiral Fritz Roegge. In 34 years of service, he's led through the Navy, commanding at the squadron and the group level. He's done staff tours in the operating forces with both Atlantic and Pacific submarine forces, and on the institutional side, he's done it all from legislative affairs to nuclear propulsion, from joint strategy and policy to Navy personnel. And he's also a deep thinker, and I think it's telling he has both the Masters of Science in Engineering Management and the Masters of Art in National Security and Strategic Studies. And I was speaking to a member of the foundation in the room before, and she zeroed in on Amy studying science. She said, we need more people to study science to become leaders. And I said, actually, what we need is people that study science and art to be leaders, and Fritz Roegge is someone who combines the two. He's been a fellow at MIT, and he's advised Congress on reforming professional military education. So it's kind of hard for me to imagine a better pick to come over here at NDU than someone that combines that educational experience, that operational experience, and also that experience in helping to advance professional military education in the Congress. All of those areas will hold you in good stead for its over the next couple of years. And to Fritz's wife, Julie, welcome back to the National Capital Region. I hope we have a house for you soon, and this is par for the course, right? And welcome to National Defense University. And Alex and Will, we're glad you're here. And I know as Northern Virginia residents, you're glad to have your mom and dad back to supervise you. I know it's been very difficult for you as men in your mid-20s to be without your mom and dad, 2 miles away, but they'll be here and be formed and ready for inspection on Saturday morning. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is truly an honor for me to be here to just for a few minutes recognize Fred Padilla's leadership and the lasting contribution he's made at NDU, and to welcome Vice Admiral Fritz Roegge to NDU. And now I'm going to ask General Padilla to join me at center stage so we can recognize the contribution that he's made, and then formally recognize the transfer of authority between these two great leaders. Thank you.